Hey everybody, this is Rob Bechtold from the NOLA Food Podcast, bringing you our first podcast. We are broadcasting from the Avenue Pub at 1732 St. Charles. We are upstairs on the balcony and we're enjoying a nice cold beer, and we're going to talk about some food. Today we have Lindsey Clendaniel from Scoop Adventures blog and also Urban Scoop Craft Ice Cream. And we're going to talk a little bit today about food and what she's trying to do in the city and getting her name out there. So, Lindsey, welcome.
Thank you. Thank
welcome
you for
to the
having
Food Podcast. Right. Tell us a little bit how you got to the city.
Sure. I'm actually a transplant. I've been here for 3 years. Work brought me down this way, as well as an interest in the city.
Sure.
It seemed like a fun, good place to live, and so far it's lived up to that.
Right. Definitely a food city, I found.
Yes.
Where did you come from?
Well, I grew up in Maryland, but I actually moved from Ohio.
Ohio.
I've been living in a couple different places.
And what's your other job?
My other job is actually as a child psychologist.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Great. So the ice cream thing is just
yes.
a hobby and a passion.
Yes, exactly. That's a good way to describe it. It kind of started out as a hobby and has developed into a passion. And I hope to do more with that. But yes, I do have
How long has the blog been up?
3 years about. Mm-hmm. I started it actually just before I moved.
Right.
And it's been a lot of fun.
Was it just different ice cream parlors that you went to? Or?
Yes, well, I've always loved ice cream, and I mean, there aren't many people that don't.
Right.
But, and I was always one of those things that, like, I sought out ice cream in all the cities that I went. But when I moved to Columbus, Ohio, there are some really good ice cream there.
Okay.
Jenny's Splendid Ice Cream is one of my favorite ice cream places, and then she always had just very different, not the classic flavors. Mm-hmm. And so I decided it kind of inspired me to get my own ice cream maker, and
sure.
I had lots of ideas as well. So I was like, I'll just put it up online and see. There's got to be other ice cream lovers out there.
Right.
So.
Well, after all these years, what's some of your favorites that you've had?
Yeah. You mean like ones I've made?
The ones that you've tasted, actually.
In other places?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, some of my favorites from that ice cream parlor that I was talking about are her Gravel Road. It's actually salted caramel ice cream with smoked almonds in it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. It's amazing. That's one of my favorites. I've got a few favorites around town, too.
Sure.
Creole Creamery's chocolate peanut butter pie.
Right.
That one's excellent.
I've had their red velvet, and
yes.
That was really tasty
yes.
in the stores. And he's really blowing up, too.
He is. A lot of creativity.
Spoke to him probably 2 years ago when we were doing our Smoking Buddha barbecue thing, and he was just starting to get out there, and it's so great to see the local Rouses and stuff like that pick up on things like that. So I'm sure that's what you want to try to transition into.
Yes.
If that's on the road.
That would be great. It would be fun to just kind of get my ideas out there, get my product out there. I'm passionate about it, so to kind of share that passion with other people is
Do you like
great.
The differences of gelato and ice cream, or is it just strictly ice cream that you like?
I'm a little bit picky. I mean, I actually make all my ice creams without eggs.
Okay.
I prefer the consistency. Not that a lot of people love that custardy flavor, but I actually prefer without it. That's just my own taste buds, though.
Sure.
But I've had a lot of good ice cream without eggs. With eggs, I mean. And gelato tends to be denser. I mean, if you use a true gelato maker, it doesn't put as much air into the ice cream, which is what gives that fluff.
Right.
And so, I do prefer more dense ice creams. But I don't obviously know all the machines people use around here, but there's definitely some good ice cream.
What about butterfats and cream and stuff like that? Is that something you look for?
Yeah, I mean,
because I've seen a lot of variations that go from 32 to sometimes 40.
Right. I mean, I think that the definition is that anywhere above 14% butterfat is considered premium ice cream, and I think that there's kind of a window of what's good, because you get too much butterfat in there, it's going to taste like butter.
Sure.
But I think the butterfat is what holds the flavor.
Right.
It's kind of like you perfume the butterfat. That's what Jenny's Ice Cream always says, is you perfume the butterfat. And so again, I think that's kind of why I prefer an ice cream that has all milk in it and cream, because you get all that butter fat versus the fat from the egg yolks, which doesn't always, I mean, it's my understanding that it doesn't always hold the flavor the same way. So get more intense flavor.
Well, how did we get from a blog to you starting your own company and trying to be a small independent businesswoman in New Orleans?
Well, I think it's a couple of different reasons. I think I've always thought it'd be interesting and fun to have my own business. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I figured. But I think it's been a lot of support and a lot of good feedback with the ice cream. I mean, I often have it at parties and I bring it places and people are like, oh, this is awesome. I really want to try it. Generally, I get good feedback and I get honest feedback too, which is really helpful. Yeah. And so I think that just encourages me to to get it out there more.
What are some of the flavors that you produce that people have really enjoyed?
Chocolate peanut butter. It sounds simple, but people really seem to enjoy that. I think that I make a lot of flavors with lavender in them, actually.
Oh, wow. I love lavender.
I love lavender. And so I have, if you go on my site, I have like 5 different recipes with lavender on it. I just get carried away. But it's partly because a lot of people really seem to like it too. Right. Like lavender honey and white chocolate lavender, I think I made. And so those are good. Some of my favorites that I've made are a basil ice cream, actually. Okay. It's really, really great, especially if you put it
it wasn't a sorbet, it was actually
it was ice cream. Yeah, it's it has some lemon in it, and you put it over strawberries.
Did you just use really regular, just basil, and nothing crazy?
Nope.
Thai basil or
no, I just used the basil, that Italian basil that you grow in your backyard. Yeah, that's and it's actually really good when you sweeten it up and put some lemon in it. So that's been one of my favorites.
Did you infuse the cream with the basil? Is that how you did it?
Yeah, I steep a lot of things in the cream, so I warm it up. Same with spices. Like I made a pink peppercorn ice cream. Ooh. Yeah, cinnamon sticks are really easy to steep. Mint. So that's and I can do the same thing when you make sorbet. Like if you just make a simple syrup and then steep the.
I've tried different sorbets and ice creams, and it seems like it's a sugar to liquid ratio, and if you go too far in one direction, you can wind up with slush or something like that. And,
it's a balance.
Yeah, if you're not looking for a granita, you're looking for something a little more smooth.
Right. I'm all about scoopability. Texture is really important to me.
Sure.
So I add things to my sorbets like alcohol, and I watch that ratio between water and sugar to try to get it so that when you bring it out of the freezer, you don't really have to sit it there for 10 minutes to actually scoop it. That's my goal. It's not always perfect, but that's what I shoot for.
All right, let's talk about some of your favorite restaurants around the city. Is there any places
that's a hard
you like
question,
to?
Right?
Yeah, trust me. There's a lot of
I have
places
plenty of favorites. I would say that one of my favorite restaurants is Coquette. Right. Partly because of proximity to where I live. Sure. I can walk there, but I've had several good meals there, and there's a little bit of it's my understanding that one of the head chef has some roots in Maryland as well, and so he occasionally puts things on the menu like sheep crab soup and things like that.
Right.
Kind of feel like home a little bit.
Yeah, sheep crab soup, for a lot of people that don't know down here, is sort of like our crab bisque.
Right.
But they'll also use the fattened crabs in the soup. And I had some of it when I was in South Carolina, actually, and it was absolutely delicious. Yeah. Very, very rich, very crabby.
Right.
I actually got sent to the Northeast after Katrina.
Okay.
We transferred out there, and I was in D.C. for a while. So I got to taste a lot of the Baltimore and a lot of those influences. Bluefish was something that I had never seen before, and I would love to get some down here. I think it would go over. It's sort of like, it tastes like dark meat chicken almost.
Yeah. So, it's interesting, there's some overlap. I mean, even though the food culture down here is very different, just the fact that there's blue crabs down here.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's the same species. It's the exact same species.
Exactly. But I also like that, Coquette, as well as many other restaurants around the city, really focus on using what's in season. There's, local when they can get it kind of ingredients.
Sure.
And, I really haven't had a bad meal there.
I've heard they have the best fries in the city. I'm not sure if you've had the fries. I've been asking around, but I keep hearing
I bet you they're good. I can't actually remember if I had them.
I'm always on the lookout for crispy, beautiful, delicious
fries. Yes.
Yeah, I had I heard that Five Guys is coming out to Elmwood, so I'm looking forward to that. They give you like the bag of fries if you order the small.
I've heard that before, definitely.
Really tasty.
Yeah.
Today is 9/11. It's 11 years since 9/11. Just a little story about where I was in 9/11. I was working at Chateaubriand Steakhouse over on Carrollton Avenue, and I got the call from my mom. I think it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and everybody was kind of weirded out that day. It was a weird day in New Orleans. It seemed real quiet that day, and what I really noticed is we did 6 customers that night at the restaurant, and that's unheard of at a restaurant. That's when I knew that something really serious had happened, and this is going to affect us for a long time. You know, and it took a while for New Orleans to recover from that, and it hurt a lot of chefs and line cooks just because a lot of hours started getting cut and stuff like that. But I think it affected America in general, but it definitely affected the culinary scene in New Orleans a lot, and that's what I remember. Where were you?
I was actually in college, and it happened. I happened to actually be watching the news when the story broke, and obviously you get into the news really quickly, and I was actually watching when the second plane hit. But it was because it was in the morning. I actually still went to class, oddly enough. Like the school hadn't shut down yet, and so I made it through the first class, and then it was kind of the same thing. Everybody started figuring out how serious this was. I got a call from my mom about it hit the Pentagon, and I actually went to school in Delaware, so I mean we felt relatively close. I mean, even though I know it wasn't super close, it felt relatively close. But at the time, I was actually part of the ambulance squad at the school, and so just as a first responder, whether you're there or not, you just kind of have this like sense that you want to do something. And everybody does.
To help out in some way.
Everybody does. So it was like everyone suited up, everyone put their uniform on, and kind of sat around the TV and just waited to see, even if us as a college ambulance squad could be used.
Because you didn't know what was happening that day.
Right.
You
I mean, ultimately,
it was going to happen in your backyard.
Exactly. Ultimately, no. I mean, we didn't have to go anywhere. Other local EMS squads actually went places, but we didn't. So anyway, but that's.
I was in Arlington when I moved to DC, and I had to pass the Pentagon every day going to the metro on the bus, and I always looked at it, and it was on the side that it hit, and I always kind of I always felt a sense of reverence, I guess, for the day, and it was a very important day. I think it still is. And I think everybody should remember it.
Right. We don't want to forget.
Upcoming events for Scoop News, or
the blogs continue.
And where can people find that?
Scoopadventures.com.
Okay.
Scoopadventures.com. And I guess more news is just with my up-and-coming ice cream business, I guess you could say. So we're launching the website, which is urban-scoops.com.
Okay.
And there's definitely more information on there. But initially, my plan is to actually give away pints.
Oh, okay. Well,
weekly.
That is awesome.
I just kind of want to get it out there and see what people think and get some
free ice cream,
from
people.
Free ice cream.
Free ice cream. Get in touch with this lady.
Yes. So beginning in October, so a few weeks away, but beginning in October, every week, everyone will have the opportunity to get in on the, I guess you could say drawing, or, get in on the free ice cream by either going on the Urban Scoops Facebook page or tweeting with the hashtag Scoop Giveaway.
Well,
and then every Wednesday, I will choose 2 people who will then hopefully be able to meet me in the Stein's Deli parking lot on Thursday to pick it up. That's a good food location.
Definitely. A lot of people will drop off there.
So most people know where it is. So, so that's what we'll do. And then as it builds and if the feedback's good, then my intention is to eventually sell the scoops. So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, everybody, let's give this lady some support. This is another small business in New Orleans that's trying to get their name out there, and this is the best city in the world to do that. I truly feel that. A little news about for the podcast and other things that are happening in the city. The Hogs for the Cause registration is opening up, and that is info@hogsforthecause.org. You can find out more info on that. And that is a barbecue competition on March 24th. We are going to be a part of it. Team Bury Me and Smoke is our team, and listen up for that. Upcoming guests that are coming up on the NOLA Food Podcast, we're going to have Bernie Gillette from Mama Mita's Hot Tamales, which you can also find at NOLA Smokehouse at the Avenue Pub. We sell them sometimes. Cam Boudreaux from Killer Po Boys. Andrew Shuford from Team Mop and Hoof and Cleaver, a whole hog catering company. Michael Liuza is going to be our first musician, and you can check him out at bigeasymusic.com and also on YouTube. Thank y'all so much for listening. This is our first podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be having it up soon. We're going to try to do one every week, or whenever I get somebody to sit down like this lovely lady and sit down and talk with me, I will put it up. So tell your friends, keep on subscribing, and stay hungry, NOLA. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you.